Hello and welcome to episode 38 of Sequel Pitch, a podcast in which four film enthusiasts friends create sequels to movies that don't have them, and then battle it out to persuade the host to pick their winning pitch. I'm Ross, the co-host and pitcher as well this week, and joining me as ever is a man whose breath is so strong it can open doors. It's Drew Toynbee.
That's discriminatory against asthmatics, and I'm taking you to court.
With him is a man that has more hair on his arms than General Martin Perez. It's Andy Henry.
Yeah, I don't need a jumper or anything over here.
Oh my god, that shot is spectacular.
Oh,
anyway,
that's the grossest thing in the film, I'm not going to lie.
it's the only thing in my notes.
And with us, a new voice. He's the 8th clone version of himself. It's special guest host Paul Klein, who is a film and media editor at No Majesty and co-features editor at Film Hounds. How are you, Paul?
I am good. I just mercy killed a gross version of myself, and I'm ready to party.
Nice. Tell us a bit about the people that are listening, about yourself, if you want to.
I am the kind of person that likes really shit movies, so this was in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'm also a massive Prometheus defender. I'm like this.
Ooh.
Trust me, I've been banging the gong since I saw it opening day in the IMAX. I was like, this movie is amazing.
Oh no, I saw Drew's pitch before this, and he's gonna win.
I might not know. We'll see.
Well, today, as you probably know by the title of the episode, we are going to discuss the 1997 sci-fi franchise not so good as its counterpart, Aliens Resurrection, or Alien Resurrections? Resurrection? Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, their titles are all over the place.
Yeah. Now, in case you haven't seen it, we do a 60-second synopsis, or thereabouts. This definitely won't be because I had to just copy it off of IMDb. Anyway, here we go. 200 years after the events of Alien 3, United Systems military scientists on the space vessel of the USM Aruga create a Aruga.
That's what they say in Looney Tunes when the eyes pop out, isn't it?
Aruga. I'm going to call it that. Aruga. Create a clone of Ellen Ripley, designated Ripley 8, using DNA from blood samples taken before her death. The xenomorph Queen's DNA has been combined with Ripley, so the clone grows up with an embryo inside it. The scientists extract the embryo, raise it, and collect its eggs while keeping Ripley 8 alive for further study. As a result of the xenomorph's DNA inside her, the clone has enhanced strength and reflexes, and powers of stopping basketballs in midair, somewhat acidic blood, and also a psychic link to the xenomorphs. Additionally, the xenomorph's genetic memory allows the clone to have some of Ripley's memories. A group of mercenaries arrive at Aruga. They deliver several abducted humanoids in stasis. The military scientists use humans as hosts for the aliens, raising several adult xenomorphs for study. Now the mature xenomorphs, being aware of their blood is acidic, they escape confinement by killing off one of their own, using the acidic blood to burn through their enclosures. Clever girls. They damage the Aruga and kill the majority of the crew who fail to evacuate. Military scientist Dr. Wren reveals that the ship's default command in an emergency is to return to Earth. Realizing that this will unleash the xenomorphs, Ripley 8, the mercenaries Wren, and soldier named DiStefano, and surviving xenomorph host Purvis decide to head to the Betty to use it to destroy the Aruga. Along the way, Ripley 8 discovers a laboratory of previously 7 failed attempt clones of Ellen Ripley, and she incinerates them and the contents of the lab. It's pretty gruesome. As the group make their way to the through the damaged ship, they swim through a flooded kitchen. There's two xenomorph. One's killed. One snatches Hillard, and they escape the kitchen. The xenomorph returns and blinds Christie, who sacrifices himself to kill the xenomorph. He doesn't really. I don't know why it says...
He doesn't need to.
It's bizarre.
Let's go into that in a bit, because it's such a big problem.
Put a pin in that.
So the others can escape. After Ren betrays the group, Cal is revealed to be an Auton. Using her ability to interface the Aruga systems, Cal sets it on a collision course with Earth. Ripley 8 is captured by a xenomorph, while the others head to the Betty. Ren, who is already aboard, shoots Purvis, takes Cal hostage, and demands that she abort the collision. And injured Purvis attacks Ren and forces Ren's head to his chest, just as the xenomorph embryo bursts out of his chest, and it goes through his head. He dies. Bad times. Ripley is taken to the alien nest. The alien queen gives birth to a xenomorph with overtly human traits. The hybrid alien kills the alien queen. Ripley 8 takes advantage of distraction to escape and make her way to the Betty. The Betty crew struggle to take off, which gives Ripley 8 enough time to reach the ship and jump on. While they further struggle, the hybrid boards, unbeknownst to the crew. Cal goes to close the hatch. When she attempts to close it, she runs into the hybrid, who goes... who closes the hatch while she runs and hides. Ripley 8 goes to check on them and runs into the hybrid. She saves Cal by distracting the hybrid, using her acidic blood to make a hole in the glass. And literally the creature gets sucked out in the most horrific way. Goes... the countdown on the Aruga continues, and the survivors escape in the Betty. The Aruga collides with Earth, causing a large explosion, and they look down at Earth. Cal asks what Ripley 8 wants to do next. She says, I don't know. I'm a stranger here myself. Fuck me. There you go.
She doesn't say "fuck me" at the end. She doesn't then turn to call and go.
That's
fuck
the deleted
me.
No, but
scene.
everyone
That's
else
the
basically
special
does.
edition.
Every other male does in this film, basically.
Oh man!
So,
It's
what
a
did we
horny
think?
Movie. It's horny.
It is a horny ass movie.
It's
by
horny.
far
It's
and away the
hornier than
horniest.
Alien 3, and Alien 3's got only men and Ellie.
Oh man!
And this
Yeah.
one's got
You
other
said
women.
my joke. You said my joke just as I was about to say it, man. Damn it!
So what do we think? Let's go with Paul. What did you think of this movie, rewatching it?
So, I love the Alien films. I love all of them. I had Alien toys when I was 5, and I really probably shouldn't. But my parents were like, "Oh, Alien toys! This is well cool. Get them for Paul." And I'm like, I have no idea what the hell this is, but this is cool. It's gonna eat Batman, and I did my dissertation on David Fincher, so I've watched Alien 3 and the
Nice.
assembly cut more times than more times than David Fincher, definitely.
I like the third one.
I like
as
the
well.
third one, and the assembly
Me
cut
too.
is very good, even though the weird yak hybrid alien does look a bit silly.
Yeah.
But and Resurrection should be good. It should be better because you got Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who's a great director. You got, theoretically, Joss Whedon, who is theoretically a great writer. I am a Buffy. This is the same year Buffy started as well.
Yeah.
Buffy starts.
Wow.
And it's basically the thing is that it's basically the setup of Firefly. It's a bunch of
Yeah,
space
it's
pirates.
Proto Firefly.
So it should, in theory, be great. And you've got great character actors. Winona Ryder's good. Sigourney Weaver's good. Ron Perlman's great. Your man from CSI's in it, and it's just a bit messy because so much of it makes because Alien 3 clearly ended the series.
Yeah.
They were like, we scraped this furnace, and we found some remnants of blood from Ripley.
Well, that's also the thing is, where did
when-
the DNA come from? Because she died literally falling into an inferno. She died.
Yeah.
Hey, blood
Just some on the
survives
ship, lying
infernos,
around.
clearly.
So it was a bit like, what did Charles Dance take samples of her DNA for reasons unbeknown to anyone. Because he's not.
I'll keep these.
Yeah, he's like, hello, I'm going to have sex with this lady, but first I better take a blood sample. Maybe he was like, I don't trust this lady. She might have disease. I'm going to check and then doink her in prison.
He's like Dexter. All of his sexual partners, he's got a little slide.
Charles Dance in Alien 3 is just great because
he's just fabulous.
His character is so uncaring about anything.
Yeah,
I think it's great. But this one, it's just a bit like other movies. Like,
yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
The soundtrack for me is just a bit all over the place as well.
There's a lot of shots that look like Jurassic Park. Like, there's a lot of the xenomorphs walking. Obviously, they're puppets. But the way they shoot, like, the feet walking, and it's like the velociraptors in the kitchen. And it's like, well, if you're going to do Jurassic Park, just do it then. Like, Godzilla ripped it off, and it's like, just do it. Like, make a giant alien queen T-Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew, what did you think?
It has some charm, but like, God, this film, it looks like arse. I hate looking at this film, and it has this really bizarre tone that, again, reading up on it after watching it, Joss Whedon said that he wrote the script to be very playful and kind almost tongue-in-cheek and very Joss Whedon, and that he disapproved of how they shot it and that they made it very straight.
Which I think is stupid. Nobody goes to an Alien film going, I hope it's silly.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, he's angry that they didn't do the silly film, so they did the best they could with the material provided, but it doesn't work.
Franchise based around the concept that everyone is terrified of rape, which is what the Alien films are about. You know, the first one's about how men are terrified of being raped and giving birth. The second one's about how women are terrified of being raped in military occupation. The third, prison. The fourth is about artificial insemination. You know, Prometheus is about, the religious fear that if you cannot procreate, then your God has abandoned you.
Yeah.
Covenant is about the fear that people have of their spouses. Like, it's not for nothing, but in Covenant, two people are having sex in a shower and they get fucked up. It's, the whole thing is about kind of that, and it's just like, the whole movie's just so kind of dumb.
Yeah. Andy, what do you think?
Oh boy. My biggest thing is they seem to go. They went less away from the horror, which I enjoyed in the early ones, and they went more, Jurassic Parky, or a bit more, not like hugely like actiony. Like action, more of an action film. But yeah, no, I just missed the horror aspects of it. One, I thought it was just very boring. But I was like, now I'm watching. I feel like I was watching a different genre. It wasn't in actual like the same franchise of.
I will say it does look like the director's film. Like, I know that, like, there's a lot of talk nowadays when you join a franchise, you lose your personality. Like there's a Marvel thing where all Marvel films look the same, even when you get thing. But like, Alien looks like a Ridley Scott film. It's filled with massive worlds filling the screen. Aliens feels like a James Cameron film. Alien 3 looks like Seven. It looks like Panic Room.
Yeah.
And this does, if you've ever seen like Delicatessen or Amelie or City of Lost
I was going to
Children,
say, bizarrely, it looks like Amelie.
Yeah, and it is
odd
because
thing.
The director has a style, and he's like, he doesn't speak a word of English, so he's like, I don't know, I'm just going to throw the camera in people's faces. Why not?
Yeah.
Because his direction is silly. His direction is as silly as the film he's making. So I don't get what Whedon's crying about, because it's like, the film is dumb.
Yeah. I think when I was watching it, I wrote loads of random notes. I wrote, there's quite a lot of symbolism in this with the weird birthing at the beginning, where she comes out of the sack. Then I put the bad breath passcode door.
That was funny. He got rejected the first time.
Yeah. And another scene in where he eats a whole lemon. He like eats the whole. He eats the skin as well.
Yeah, he eats the rind of a lemon whilst his mate drinks solidified melted whiskey.
God,
I
that
did-
look appealing.
I really enjoyed. I'm sure that I've read this on IMDb trivia or somewhere else, but I normally read the trivia before I watch the film because I love movie trivia. This time I didn't, and I really enjoyed that their security code when the Betty is arriving at the Auriga is EATME or eat me. I really enjoyed that. And like yeah, my notes were eat me, hairiest man on earth, and machine gun shotgun. And that was all I wrote before I just went, oh fuck it.
I wrote keychain of smells. Like he's got a keychain of different random smells for the door.
Yeah.
I don't know where she got that from.
How she get General Perez's?
Yeah.
Scent.
Yeah,
His
they
It's
should
bad-
cover
lemon.
that.
It's just lemon. That's all it is. It's just a lemon spray.
I like there was another bit where Ron Perlman says it's a waste of ammo and then shoots a spider in a web.
Oh yeah. He got
Yeah.
scared of the spider. Come on.
Yeah, but he's like, it's a waste of ammo.
He shoots a spider because it's a waste. Not to mention, he does the cool double gun hanging from his knees thing.
Oh,
And
upside down.
Fires about 50 rounds just into the air.
Yeah.
When if he'd just taken his time and aimed, it only took one shot.
How he didn't end up
I think-
pumping
Was
the
it
other two
crispy
full of
underneath
bullets is
him?
beyond me. Because he was firing not at the xenomorph, he is firing directly into
At
the
his mate.
CSI man's head. That CSI guy, his head is full of space bullets.
Oh man.
That was
Yes,
funny.
the general guy that with his hairy arms, he was really good. I think for me, like with this movie, it's a bit different to the others because you don't give a shit about any of these people.
No.
Like you don't care about them because they're all dickheads. Apart from obviously Ripley and
Cole.
Anna Lee. Like, yeah, they're
But
just
even then, I didn't really care about when Cole got shot. I was like, I know she's supposed to be like, she's pleading with Ripley at the start and stuff, so we're supposed to want to like her. But I was just like,
But the thing that
whiny.
Well, the thing that like made the first one so good is like you got to know the crew and you got to know like they were friends with each other. Whereas these people, they're just pirates, really. They're smugglers and pirates, and you don't like when they die. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Like the driver, the captain guy, literally gets killed in the first 10 minutes of the like when they get on board. He gets dragged through, and then his chest. He gets one through the chest.
Yeah.
His voice was too deep for him to stay alive.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't. I've never been able to see him in anything and not see him as Guy of Gisborne from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, going, "Why a spoon, cousin? Why not a sword? Because it's dull. Because it'll hurt more."
So, Paul, you're a massive fan of the Alien franchise, and like, do you think like obviously after the third one, people thought this one was actually it was good, but it obviously it wasn't like critically, it wasn't like great, but like the box office, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad compared to what 3 was apparently. But do you think that as the series has gone on, it's just veered away from what made the first one so iconic and so memorable?
Yeah, I think the problem with it is that the first two, and obviously, like, I feel for Alien 3 because I think people wanted Aliens 2.
Yeah.
And David Fincher clearly went, no, I want to make Alien 2. I want to make a sequel to the Ridley Scott movie, not the James Cameron movie.
Yeah.
And the problem is that Alien, like you say, takes its time. You know what Ripley's about. You know what you know what Tom Skerritt's character's about. So that when John Hurt explodes, it's like, oh crap, no one is safe. And then with Aliens, again, it takes time. You understand the company is a piece of shit. You know that you know who Newt is. Even the soldiers that aren't the main ones. Like Vasquez and people like that. They have character moments, and even to an extent, Alien 3 has character moments. And this just does. And also, the crew of the Nostromo, they argue, they antagonise each other, but they're colleagues. The soldiers antagonise each other, but they're colleagues. The prisoners antagonise each other, but they're all like, well, we hate the prison guard and we hate his subordinates, so we're united in hating him. And these pirates just hate each other, and it's like, well, if you don't like each other, I get Ron Perlman's meant to be an arsehole character. He's meant to be like, the chauvinist role. But it's like, yeah, but why would I care that he lives then? Because he's horrible to your man in the wheelchair. Also, in the future, it's like 22:30 or whatever. Surely you would have figured out. What I don't get, right, and this is the problem with prequels. In Prometheus, billion-year-old Guy Pearce is so old he has like leg braces that help him walk.
Yeah.
But this man in a wheelchair has to use a giant wheelchair and then be strapped to a man's back.
Yeah.
Surely you could tinker. If you can make guns that are shotguns and machine guns and a rocket launcher all in one, you can make a man some bionic legs. You can make robots. You can make bionic legs.
I think, like you say, like they went a different way with. Obviously, the first one was a thriller. The second one was an action movie. The third one tried to go back to a thriller. This one, doesn't know really where it's going. Do you feel the same way, Andy? Like, do you feel that?
Yeah, I was saying, like, I feel all the horror's gone. They try to replace it with, say, Joss Whedon-y, a bit of humour, a bit of, like, sexual banter, which obviously doesn't fucking work. And, just more, like, big guns and shooting rather than atmospheric build-up and shadow play and smoke and mirrors and stuff like that, which I really liked in the old horrors. And
how did you think of the? What did you think of the? Like, we'll do one more little bit of talky talk. What did you think of Ripley, the character, as well, and Sigourney Weaver?
I always say a franchise is basically ran out of ideas if they had to do a hybrid between the good and the bad. Yeah, I just hate those ideas. So when I was like, oh yeah, she's basically half and half. It's like, well, if she's not like she died in the third one, there was no reason to make this one. And then literally they were like, oh, how do we bring her back? Because we can't start a new franchise with someone else because she's the one that makes all the money. Yeah. So I didn't care for her. I was just a bit like, eh.
What about?
I just think at one point she gets a bloody nose, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I was a bit like, shouldn't her skin start to like boil? Or...
Yeah, she got smacked in the face with a weight. Like,
got a tiny little dainty nosebleed.
Yeah,
but she's meant to be powerful. Also, by that logic, if that was the case, then surely her blood would be boiling alive at all times.
Yeah, this is the thing with hybrids. You're like, they just don't work. Just don't do them. Just don't do the movie.
Also, why isn't she like super dribbly all the time, like xenomorphs? Xenomorphs are like the dribbliest baby monsters. They're like constantly goo.
A napkin in her pocket.
Do you know what? I would give this film 5 stars. Best film ever made. If Sigourney Weaver spent the whole film with just like pink Danny DeVito in Batman Returns style goo coming out of her mouth,
slathered with KY jelly.
Yeah. Oh wait, we have to talk about Christie's sacrifice. Come on.
Oh yes,
how unneeded. It was so funny. I was so like the alien didn't put the claw when he was climbing up the ladder. Didn't put his claw through Christie's boot, did he? He was literally just hanging on.
Yeah. And he got killed and got blown up, and then his body was just hanging on his foot, and that's why he cut himself off. Which he could have.
Christie didn't try and shake his foot.
Just literally go shoot with his other foot, just like.
And also,
I love it.
He would have just landed in the water, and then
he would have been fine.
Like just took the claw off his foot, and then just started climbing back up again. Surely, like.
Yeah, I didn't get kind of.
Why did the alien climb the ladder? Because we've seen in other films, aliens can like climb on the ceiling. They've got massive claws.
Yeah.
Why is it like better use the ladder though? Safety first, guys.
Safety first.
Let's not tit about. Let's be safe.
4 points of contact. What was the guy's name who kept going? What's inside me? What's inside
Oh,
me?
what, the guy from Seven,
Geddyman,
who's
wasn't
still
it?
playing
Yeah.
the same character he played in Seven?
I liked it. Also, but then I would have been like, if he was
See,
like, oh,
to
these
me,
guys put an
he's-
alien
he's the
inside
guy from
you.
Saving Private Ryan. Sorry, I just had to
Yeah.
say that. But yeah, there
Oh,
we go.
he'll always be. He made me do the with the, and he's doing that. He's doing it again. They were literally like, you know that thing you did in Seven, where
Can you
you're
just
like,
go, what's inside?
where you're going crazy? Can you do that and not let anyone explain it though?
And I make
They're like
Well,
trying to tell him, and he's like, "But what's going to happen?" It's like, well, shut up, and I will tell you what's going to happen.
you're going to die.
I'd have,
All right. Well,
I'd have just
I think
killed him.
we-
I'd have been like, I'm not running the risk. Sorry, guys. I know it's like
bang,
morally
bang,
questionable.
bang. And last thing, what do we think of the hybrid at the end? Weird. How the albino like?
I mean, I think
With the
I
human
think
skull,
successfully unsettling. But as a plot
gooey.
point, like, what the fuck? What the
Yeah.
actual fuck? Like, I get that they needed to do something that was a departure from the previous movies, because otherwise it just becomes people on spaceship get eaten by aliens until someone doesn't and survives.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, find something different, but God, it's fucking weird.
Yeah. The way it goes, though, fair play.
I like it, but it's weird. It's weird. Sigourney Weaver has one of the most singular faces in the world. Like, even in Avatar, when she becomes an avatar in Avatar, and you're like, all the other avatars just look the same. They just look like blue cats. And then Sigourney Weaver's one shows up and she smiles, and you're like, that's Sigourney Weaver. And the
Yeah,
alien
yeah.
hybrid looks like Sigourney Weaver. It's really off-putting. But then they're like, it's like, right, so that's like your baby? Why are you having like a weird, intimate, sexy moment with your baby alien?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there was so much face touching in this film. It's like
Yeah.
Face Off all over again.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder and Ripley, and like the. Oh.
Also, there must be another way to kill an alien apart from sucking it out into the vastness of space. Like, guys, come on now.
It was so. The CGI was amazing. The way, we
man.
could see every little bit just off into the space. Like,
when its limbs are going through, and I swear that somewhere in there it has someone saying mother or mummy or like.
oh yeah, I can imagine it being mixed in with
or
a
something
scream
like
or
it's
something.
fucking
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. All right. And on that, we are going to mark it out of 5. So, Drew, let's go with you.
I am. Oh God, I'm gonna give it 3.
No, you're not.
3 bits of brain taken out of one's own head once it's been smashed open by an alien. It's there is enough in here that is interesting that I do think if you enjoy the other movies in the series, it warrants watching. I really like Winona Ryder. There are some very cool concepts in this film, but all of those things that I genuinely think are really good still cannot take it any higher than a 3 for the fucking Bobbins mental shit that I really don't like.
Very nice. 3. 3 out of 5 for Drew. Andy?
Oh, I'm gonna go basically the opposite to Drew. I'm gonna say 1.5. 'cause I think it's
Jeez.
everything the Alien franchise shouldn't be. Yeah, just didn't really. I thought, you could put another title on this and maybe change the Alien a little bit. And it would have been a different film. We didn't talk about one of my favorite bits is the guy French kissing the glass that's holding the alien.
Brad Dourif, worm tongue,
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
having a
like-
lovely time.
in an Alien film that. Yeah, 1.5. Don't watch this. If you enjoy the franchise, stop at 3.
Jump straight to Prometheus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come back for ours, and then
Paul, what do you think?
I'm gonna be similar to Drew. I give it 3 needless sacrifices out of 5. It's dumb, but there's enough in it that I like. Maybe I'm biased because I like Sigourney Weaver. I like Brad Dourif. I like your man from CSI. I love Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
But like,
He is
there's,
good in it.
There's so many moments in it where you feel like a child going, "Oh, this is so cool." Like the bit where she does the basketball in one shot. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's pointless, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Why? That's so funny. Everyone's like, "Whoa!"
I like the Matrix music after it. It's like,
But it was
Yeah, there was a few I
pre-Matrix.
saw there.
It was.
Yeah.
I was watching it. I was like, "Oh my god, they've ripped off the Matrix." And I was like, "Wait, no, this was 2 years before the Matrix."
I know. And also, like, seeing the two xenomorphs underwater swimming like weird fish is cool. And I don't know, there's enough that it's kind of, maybe its weirdness and dumbness is kind of part of its charm, where you're just like, why did nobody think to shave Dan Hedaya's arms? They're very hairy, and it's very off-putting. And I know that they were like, oh, he was meant to be shirtless, and they were like, oh, he's too hairy, let's put a vest on him. And it's like, no, there's still
That
too
accentuates the hair.
You know, there's so much weird stuff. Him pulling the brain matter out before he dies. That it's kind of enjoyable. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like Alien Covenant where you're like, this is just boring and dumb and makes no sense. You're like, this is dumb and makes no sense, but it's kind of silly.
Yeah. Nice. I'm going to meet you both and give it a 3. If you haven't seen it, the special edition version, at the beginning of the movie, there is an awful CGI mouth that you think is a xenomorph, but then it is just it's just a little bug that gets smushed on the guy's finger, and it looks so. When I watched that, I was like, "Is this like a deleted scene that hasn't been done?" And it was so bad. Anyway, yes, I'll give it 3 out of 5 of those. Yeah. So, Drew, what does that give us?
That brings it in at 2.63 out of 5. So
Jeez. We're
just over half score, but not a recommendation from this podcast.
That's because of Andy and his fucking...
I am not going to
Andy
recommend this. If someone came to me and said, should I watch this film? I'll be like, hell no, stay away from it. Like, watch something else. Watch either another Alien or just a shitter Alien movie.
Just watch Species. It's basically the same movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
here we
true.
go. Right. On that, don't watch it. But watch it because we want you to listen to... because I think it's time to get our sequels pitched. This week, myself, Andy, and Drew are going to be pitching sequels to Paul. And Paul is going to, if he wants to, ask us questions. And then right at the end, we're going to argue it out. And then Paul's going to pick his winner for Alien Resurrection. So, Paul, who do you want to go first?
I'm going to say Drew, just because you guys think I'm going to pick his as the winner anyway. So let's go Drew first. And then you guys can adjust accordingly to tailor it to my terrible taste.
How many E's in Prometheus?
Quickly just going Noomi Rapace, and then Guy Pearce as Mr. Burns.
Okay, all right. Well, mine is tentatively titled Alien Omega. And it is 25 years after the destruction of the UCM Auriga, colonies across several systems begin to fall off the grid. A team of stone-cold badasses from the United Systems Military Marine Corps, USMMC, must discover the source of the threat before the fall of the human race. So, we open with a huge, dark, seemingly derelict ship gliding silently through space as the title Alien Omega slowly appears on the screen. The year appears 2399, and the ship is described as origin unknown, destination unknown, purpose unknown. We see it jettison a number of huge pods as the camera pulls back, showing hundreds more on the sides of this sort of ramshackle, weird ship, before pulling further back, and we see the pods were heading in the direction of nearby stars. The year comes up on screen again at 2404. We join two people in military fatigues walking through cramped hallways that seem to be cramped metallic hallways that look like a spaceship, and they're discussing the loss of contact with a number of colonies that's happened basically simultaneously. They're discussing that they're preparing to deploy, but reports are pointing to something that's in the classified records. They're heading to the launch bay saying they're being sent out to pick up an expert. The bay doors open. You think it's going to be space, and we're actually on Earth. It's a beautiful day. Like they're in the mountains somewhere. They get on a transport and they go to the middle of the wilderness and they pick up Ellen Ripley, who has aged and she's been living in isolation. They show her all the data and they say that people are being lost. They play back all of this recorded stuff and it's just people being gruesomely taken out by giant hordes of aliens. The USMMC have managed to track an object moving past these systems, jettisoning objects that are impacting the planets. It all seems to be happening according to some sort of plan, and the largest object is now beginning to approach Earth. Ripley agrees to come and fight and come and face the aliens one final time. So across known space they take off. She meets all of her Marine friends. They're broadcasting messages and like plans, and Ripley giving people information on how to combat the aliens, and they announce that they have some sort of subspace instant communications across systems so that this plot point works. So don't call me out on that. We follow people, like families across all of human space, preparing for the impacts and like these huge battles that follow, and Ripley is terrified and furious, and they're watching all of these fights as humanity fights and fights, and it's all in vain, and it's these huge epic battles where men and women and children are all just being utterly slaughtered. And it soon becomes clear that the only thing people can do is run and hide, and they get on their ships and they evacuate, but there's no time to get supplies, there's no time to prepare for anything. Their only option is to head back to Earth. They can't go back and land back on the planet where all their stuff is, because there's a shitload of aliens there now. So Ripley and the Marines finally intercept the giant ship and discover that it is a heavily changed and modified Covenant. They attempt to destroy it, but in the hundreds of years since its disappearance, its defences have been improved, and it's had the sort of alien chitin grown all over it, and all of their ordnance is expended before they can get through this sort of outer shell. So they have to do a spacewalk to cut their way into a hatch. Something goes wrong when they're trying to latch on. It depressurizes and it destroys the Marine ship, and there's only a few of our absolute favourite Marines who make it across onto the Covenant. Ripley and the other survivors then have to make their way through the ship. They're antagonised by a voice. It's David. Michael Fassbender is back. He's like all decayed, he's gone insane, and he's just taunting them and telling them that he's going to destroy Earth and that the aliens are going to get them. They're travelling through this huge ship. They're going through rows of colonists that have all had chest bursters come out of them, and there are aliens coming and taking them apart. You have a few action scenes, a few creepy crawly scenes, environmental hazards. David's used all of the fetuses that were on the Covenant to grow an army, and he intends to have his creations be the only life form left in the galaxy. Ripley eventually makes it to the bridge with the last of the Marines, all the awesome ones that we love and that we've obviously had loads of time to grow and interact as characters, and the cowardly one becomes brave and the brash one becomes more meek, and it's all really beautiful and we love all the characters. The Marines have to sacrifice themselves to hold off the aliens to stop them getting in behind Ripley. Ripley goes in and confronts David. They have a big discussion about he hates humans. He didn't have any control over being created, and he resents that, and he resents humans for looking down on him when he's better. And Ripley's like, oh, I didn't choose to be recreated. I died for something I believed in. I got brought back, and it's been twisted to be something that I didn't want it to be. But I do have control over the life that I've been given. And it looks like David might come around, but then he doesn't. And so Ripley and David have to have a big, super cool fight, and it's really epic and scary because David's so fucked up and weird, but she kills him and rips his head off again. Ripley then manages to take control of the ship. Rather than crashing it into Earth as David has intended, she pilots it into the sun, and she takes the time to record one final log and broadcasts it to Earth. It's a message for Bishop, for Hicks, for Newt, for her daughter Amanda, and then the ship plummets into the sun. And in the aftermath, humanity survives on Earth, but all of their colonies, all of known space is now just infested with aliens, and who knows how long it will be before something brings them back. ... The end.
And then Jamiroquai plays like Godzilla.
Okay, Paul, do you have any questions for Drew?
I like it. So how much time would be spent sort of building up the color? Because it sounds very action heavy. So how many sort of like Marines do you think there'll be? Because character overload is an issue with the Alien franchise as a whole.
I was only seeing like Ripley and 5 Marines making it across to the Covenant.
Okay. Do you have any idea who you might want to cast as these Marines?
I started thinking about it, and all that I fell back on an answer that I gave when we did our Signs episode, which is they would all just have surnames in the script and they would have general character traits, and I would let the director and the casting directors choose the best and the absolute best actors that they could possibly get. One person that I would love to see, oh no, I've forgotten his name, is the guy who plays Chidi from The Good Place. I want to see him in an action movie because he's fucking jacked, and I'd like him to be one of them. But other than that, I would say
when you
free
think
rein.
he's a nerd, and then he like rips his shirt off, and you're like, oh my god, that guy's got pecs.
Yeah,
Punches the
Pecs
xenomorph
for
in the
days.
face.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so not too many, and so it's very much designed to be the kind of it is very big action heavy in the earlier part, and the second part, even though it is Marines on the Covenant, is much more of a closer to an homage to Alien and Alien 3 than it is to Aliens.
Yeah, I like tying it back to Covenant and Prometheus and bringing David back as like the arch villain.
I felt like I was so tempted to make this a sequel boot and kind of just reboot it and be like, no, there's somewhere else. But I was like, no, come on, I'm going to stick with the brief. This is going to be a sequel to Alien 4, and those two films are prequels to those films, so why not?
All right. Any more questions?
Not from me.
Damn it, that means he's going to win. Who do you want to go next?
Let's hear from Andy. Let's hear Andy's.
Mine is called Alien Extinction or Alien Survival, depending on what works better. My little blurb is, after Earth is overtaken by xenomorphs, a small crew fights to keep humanity alive. So we open and we see the USS Skrull. It's a big ship of space. Heading to Earth. It's a mining ship carrying about 5 people when they're all like in cryo sleep. They're returning after successfully mining a planet for a mineral that's needed on Earth. Suddenly, an alarm goes off and Kaya, the new female protagonist, wakes up. She checks the problem and sees that it's something pretty big, so she wakes up Lurch, her captain. Lurch says they've collided with something that is disrupting the oxygen supply, but they can't fix it. Just then, they see another ship on their radar. They contact the ship and ask if they can come aboard to repair theirs. Captain Thomas from the Skyrocket, the other ship, replies and says yes. So the crew from the Skrull meet the crew from the Skyrocket, and we learn it's been about 100 years after the events of Alien 4, when a ship carrying these xenomorphs crashed down to Earth. Not all of the xenomorphs died, and the humans started experimenting on them, prolonging their life. Soon the aliens grew back bigger and badder, and they took over it and just ransacked the whole Earth. The crew on the Skyrocket, like 5 to 8 people, are the last remaining humans. And then maybe there's a story, if we want some fan service, about Ripley sacrificing herself so these last humans could escape and get off the planet. Captain Thomas, or Cap, and his team help fix the Skrull. Cap finds on board the Skrull an alien egg and asks the crew who brought it from their last planet. Cap starts shouting, but no one obviously admits who did it. The lights then start falling, and the egg opens, and a face hugger attaches itself to someone. They kill the guy and say the Skrull crew must have unknowingly had an alien on board, and now it's loose. They all gun up and split up, and they try and kill the alien. Techie, the fixer, on board the Skyrocket, stays behind to help fix the Skrull, with Bubba, his best friend, and like Gunner, he's got to be a guy with a big gun, looking out for him. So this is where we go old school horror scenes, like the original. If you've played like Alien Isolation, it's all atmospheric. Like they try and kill the creature, but the alien goes back and kills crew members. It's almost like the alien knows where people will be. There's a scene where the alien attacks Techie and Bubba, but this is where we see that Techie's like kind of hit and flown across the room, presumed dead. The alien then gets Bubba, doesn't kill him, but starts to drag him away. Kaya then tries to talk to Cap, but she feels like something's weird about him, something's off. They meet up with some of the other crew members, and then one gets attacked by a xenomorph. Everyone runs, but Kaya tries to help the guy being attacked. This is where we see she sees the xenomorph drag the guy off. She then tells everyone to follow her, and they find a room where all the other crew members and some other people from Earth are cocooned and stuck to the walls. There's loads of eggs, both open and unopened. The door behind them suddenly closes, and we see Cap locking it. The eggs open, and the facehuggers kill off everyone left alive apart from Kaya and Lurch, and that's when we have the big twist. Cap reveals that before xenomorphs killed everyone on Earth, the alien was experimenting with neurolinks, trying to connect man telepathically to the aliens, in hope of either stopping them or turning them against each other. Cap was a test subject, but something went wrong, and Cap was supposed to be disposed of, but before they shot him, xenomorphs then stormed the base, killing everyone but Cap. The experiment had worked, and he could connect to the xenomorphs. His brain was half man, half beast. As the Earth soon ran out of animals and people, Cap knew he had to continue his new race by leaving Earth and heading for a new planet with life. Now only one can survive, the aliens or the humans. There's a big fight around the ship, a proper old school horror again. Face-hugging scenes. Cap hid more eggs away, so they're kind of storming the ship, chasing people. Scary scenes, alien isolation. Feel like, if you're hiding in a locker and you got to hold your breath. But also, like, Cap and the alien are working together and stuff. So the Cap was kind of telling the alien earlier on where people would be, and that's how the alien knew where they were going to be. So some double teaming by Cap and the alien. Kaya tries to get through to Cap, trying to bring him back to the normal side, to his human side, but the xenomorph power inside him is too strong, and he turns full beast. He doesn't morph or anything, he just kind of snarls more probably and just doesn't respond to human interaction. Kaya and Lurch get to their ship and try to fly away because they realise that Techie had fixed it. But they can't because the hatch door's open and they look behind it, but they see Cap approaching and it's all scary. They're like, oh shit, nothing we can do, we're about to die. But then we see Techie, nearly dead, stand up and punch Cap. He shuts the hatch door, closing the scroll. The skyrocket's main hatch opens. The Cap tries to grab onto something because obviously he's trying to be sucked out. Kaya fires up the engines to the scroll and it burns Cap to bits. Techie then grabs a grenade in each hand, and when Kyra and Lurch are a safe distance away from the skyrocket, he blows himself and the ship up. Kyra and Lurch then survive, or do they, and look for a new planet.
And then Oasis plays.
Any questions for Andy?
Well, my first one, which is a basic one, where's Ripley at, man?
Ripley, there's nothing to do with the character, especially now she's a clone. Get rid of her. That's where I was like, if we really want, she can. If we really want her, she can be one of the people. She can be Lurch's character basically. But I don't know. I wanted the franchise to start basically it's new or sequel boot, I guess you could say. But she has the story about her sacrificing herself. But yeah, I mean, apart from Sigourney Weaver, what's she like? About 70 now. One apart from that, a bit of fresh blood, but also nowhere to go with the character. So don't have her in there.
That's fair enough. What sort of casting do you have in mind for characters?
I was thinking maybe Karen Gilliam for Kaya.
Did she keep her Scottish accent?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Is she like, oh no, crap. We've got a lot of aliens on this ship.
Oh, aliens.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Cap, remember your humanity, man. He's like spitting acid at her and she's like, crap, it burns.
Cap, I would want an actor. I want to do the old switcheroo and have a nice actor, maybe like Benedict Cumberbatch, where you presume he's going to be nice just because it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Tom
Hanks. And then the big twist, which is probably not a big twist, where you're like,
oh
my god, he's
that's
actually
the Khan twist.
Yeah.
My name is Xenomorph.
Yeah, because he played that dragon as well, so he's good with the snarls.
That is true.
And Shikhan.
Oh yeah, true. He could definitely do a growl
for
as well.
Andy Serkis.
I like it. When he turns full beast, you say he's not going to transform. Is he still going to have
He might get on all fours, maybe. Yeah, it depends how silly it may look.
Can he
could
start
just
dribbling?
raise his pincers up or something, his hands up like a T-Rex, and just be like,
like Doug Jones style. He's got weird extended limbs. Basically, can he dribble loads?
Oh, he'll be dribbling. Yeah. He'll be constantly wiping his mouth throughout the movie.
Oh,
so
no.
that could be something. That could be a little giveaway, actually.
Oh, no,
Now Andy's won.
Yeah, Andy's won.
That's right. Good night, folks. Thanks
dribble.
for listening to the podcast. We'll see you next week.
Any more questions for Andy?
No, not from me.
Well. It's now down to me. Okay. Save the best till last, Paul. That's what I say. All right, here we go. Mine's called Alien Ascendancy. 20 years later on Earth, 2399. Ripley is older, trying to survive on a planet used for experimentation. It's time to end it once and for all. What? Who knows? We open the movie seeing the blankness of space. Then we see Earth in the lower half of our screen. No longer green as it once was. Then we have the famous slow-building Alien title with the score from Hans Zimmer. Obviously, we can't have James Horner, I believe, because he died. But I think Hans Zimmer would do a good job in reproducing the
wow.
Yeah, just lots of wow.
As each little bit of the title comes up.
We then see the year 2399 on the screen. We cut to the desolate street with ruined buildings, and we focus on a group of guys all in makeshift armor, looking quite scruffy, proper Fallout style. They are doing something bad, maybe beating a prisoner or something, I don't know. We see the familiar outline of a woman who shouts at them to stop. She walks forward. It's Ripley with a few scars and maybe a cool eye scar that makes her eye white or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, cool fight scene where she takes all of them out apart from one. And it looks as if that person is going to kill her. But all of a sudden, the man is shot at the last minute, and we cut to a sniper nearby. It's Winona Ryder as Anna Lee. They have a bit of dialogue after, and there's some bants maybe as well. They're collecting stuff. Ripley says we better get back as it will be dark soon, and they mostly come out at night. Little fan service there. And there's a traveling montage of then going back to this a post-apocalyptic world. We get establishment of what's going on from a log entry played over the top from Ripley, kind of like the end of the first Alien movie. It basically says that Earth was fucked, everyone left, now only a few remain and have turned to violence. Jonna, what's his face? What's his bloody name? Yes, Ron Perlman, he left with the ship, leaving them stranded on Earth. That Earth wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and that the aliens have been sighted more and more recently. So not only have to deal with that, but they have to deal with the scavengers as well as aliens. So this would be playing in the background as they're in the montage of going back home, seeing all these ruined buildings. They get home and it's like an underground bunker or something, kind of like Quiet Place vibes. They're greeted by Reese. He's alive. He's in this. Yay! And they fill him in on what happened. He thinks that they should leave as it's not safe anymore. And there are rumors of ships being spotted on some electrical system or something. I don't know. He's scanned something or used something to find that there's been ships located somewhere, and it's near the crash site of the Aruga. Ripley and Annalee are like, nah, bro, nah, we're not going. Anyway, they have some nice character moments with Ripley talking about all she's lost, and that Annalee is like the daughter that she never had. Maybe some flashes of Hicks or Newt. That she's starting to remember them more. The next day, they go out on a supply run, this time in an old derelict building. They start to search for stuff, but then there's a tense alien scene that we've always wanted. It slowly builds and builds until it's like a proper proper cat and mouse game where they are hiding from it. Ripley eventually wounds it, and they go back home. We get some more touching scenes with all... so they go back home. We get some more touching scenes with all three of them, maybe talking about stuff and more character development for Ripley, because I believe that there's still much more to go with the character, unlike Andy. So then they go to sleep. However, the alien that got injured followed them there, and he kills Reese in his sleep. Oh, shit. And then Ripley and Annalee manage to kill the alien, but now they need to leave because, like, why not? They think, hey, what about these ships that have been sighted? So then they decide to go to find this ship. And then this portion of the movie is going to be like a road-style horror movie, borrowing things from A Quiet Place and having encounters with aliens along the way, and maybe some face huggers and stuff. Anyway, they eventually get to the crash site, and they see ships going out into a secret bit, in and out of a secret bit. They sneak in to find a hidden base beneath the rubble of the Aruga. They learn through sneaky that Weyland-Yutani are back, and Walmart was only a front, and they managed to change their image to get more money. They locate a lab in which they are experimenting on something big. We can see that there is a human-alien hybrid, but this time it's not as weird as the one from the fourth film. We learn from the scientists through dialogue, maybe they're having a chat, and then like Ripley and that over here, that they cloned the remnants of the hybrid that were floating in space, because there was brains and shit all floating in space. And they cloned it, and it has some of the memories before it died. Also, that they have been releasing aliens out into the Earth atmosphere. Well, basically leave out of this research center and this thing. They've been releasing these aliens out to see how deadly they are, like Jurassic Park type shit. Anyway, the hybrid sees Ripley, breaks free, kills loads of people, and then chases after Ripley, wanting to kill her after her betrayal. Insert 20-minute chase scene, obviously. This is all the way through the complex. And then the hybrid breaks loads of different types of aliens out, like ones made better, and we get what we have always wanted: Ripley versus aliens again. So loads of scenes with her against the aliens. Annalee sets a timer for the place to blow up, but first she downloads all the stuff that they've done on her hard drive in her head, I guess. Ripley and Annalee rush to the ship in the hangar. Ripley disappears to find the unlocking mechanism for the ship's feet, and Annalee is confronted by the hybrid. She is picked up and is about to be killed, but Ripley appears in a mech suit and says, "Get away from her, you bitch." They fight. She ends up sacrificing herself to kill the hybrid, or to keep the hybrid in the facility while it blows up, so that Annalee can get away. Annalee has a final scene in which, so she does, it blows up, Ripley's dead, and everyone else is dead. Annalee has a final scene in which she sends out all the details of what the company is doing and the experiments to the press. Then she sees a screen, like maybe it's a TV screen or something. I don't know if they have TV screens in space, but they do in my film. She sees that there's a corporation summit happening, and so she plots the coordinates for there, and then she does like a badass cocking of a gun to signify she's gonna fuck up the corporations. End of movie.
So it ends exactly like A Quiet Place.
Oh shit!
Cock of the gun and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it was a popular movie. So, do you have any questions?
I loved A Quiet Place, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Do you know what I don't? So is it mostly going to be set at night?
Yeah, like obviously they're traveling. They're traveling. They will have to travel through the day and stuff. They're traveling to the crash site will be like I really want it to be like enough time to really focus and it's kind of like a little last hurrah to Ripley's character. Like she's going to get a lot of things that a lot more character development like last little bits that the character can give just before, and Annalee, and really focus on that relationship between her and Annalee, who like basically is like Newt. It's basically like Newt. So yeah, it will be some of the bits will be set at night, but there will be traveling bits through the day as well.
I like that. I like the whole idea that it's a bit like Logan as well. Like you got this character who's gotten old. They're having their one last mission to get it done. Yeah, I like that. And it leaves it open for a sequel with Winona Ryder.
Yeah, see, even though she's a bit old now, but you know. But yeah, there you go. Is that everything? Yes, get in. I'm gonna win. Yeah.
You said that about everyone.
All of us are gonna win, or none of us. Paul declares himself the winner.
I do.
Paul?
Maybe I have a pitch that's better than all of yours.
Oh, do you actually? I
have an idea. Yeah.
All right. Well, after we've argued, we can reveal.
You should tell us how.
Okay.
Tell us ours. Tell us yours.
Okay.
So now is the time to argue who will win. We will berate each other to help you decide who is going to be the winner, and then call it. Let's not go on too long. A couple of minutes maybe of like just arguing. So, Paul, you should pick mine because mine is a classic homage to the original source material. It's a direct sequel to the movie. I give a last hurrah to the character of Ellen Ripley, and I maybe could pass the torch. And I think I've got a good thing there. You should pick mine. Drew's is rubbish. Don't pick his. Andy's it so hasn't got Ripley, which is the most famous like female like hero of a generation. Like doesn't have Ripley in it.
Okay, well, you say you got loads of ideas about to take the character and you kill her off. So that's
at the
point.
end
There's
of the
no
movie.
But she doesn't do or bring anything new to this film. She does the same thing she did in 4,
character
basically.
development.
Just babysit
story, like,
characters.
You will
no,
like
this is a chance to have
my
new
film
characters.
has the chance to like go with the character and show that she's had so much time, and this 20 years has just been so long. She's got the scars. She is like she was brought back from the dead.
She's Logan,
and, like,
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like it's still a good like she is basically like she's a badass person that's like.
Does yours happen on Earth as well, Ross?
Yes.
The whole of it. We lose such a big thing if we're not confined to like a spaceship.
No, you don't need a spaceship.
That's the thing.
That's
what we loved about the aliens is they had literally like only a couple of places they could hide. They can't run across and travel halfway across the globe.
The most of the no, but I have horror
that
scenes in
claustrophobic feeling we have. That's what people loved.
I have a horror scene in a abandoned building, so that is literally a confined
Yeah, but then they get in a
space.
car and go down the motorway for half the movie.
No, they don't get in a car. There's no cars. It's
all joking.
It's all become Mad Max inexplicably in the last 20 years for no discernible reason whatsoever.
Because, mate, have you not seen when she looks out in the special edition? She literally looks out in the vastness, and there's destruction. The Eiffel Tower has been
I
smashed
thought
over.
that we fairly clearly decided we
No,
were
but
going to
it's
watch the
all-
theatrical cut. But
No, the
fine.
theatrical cut shows the same. Well, it's like pretty
The
much.
theatrical cut shows a really lovely sunset,
Hey,
and it shows
I
the
just-
Eureka.
You don't
Oh,
need like
right,
I just.
okay.
All right. Hey, I
Paul.
just said that it was destroyed. All the natural resources. Why are you coming for me anyway? In my pitch, look,
Look,
go for Andy.
Andy's takes itself down. Paul, you should you should go for mine because all the reasons Ross said that his is good, mine also has.
Oh, that's
But
such a
it doesn't
cheap
lift
answer.
it. Look, okay,
That's
fine.
such a cheap
If you want me
answer.
to sit here and list
Go on.
everything that all of the listeners have heard Ross say already, then I will. But I'll blame you, and I'm not going to do it because you
mine's
want
just
me
like
to.
that, but better. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but
sure.
mine has the legacy character. Mine is a direct sequel not only to Alien Resurrection, but also to Covenant and Prometheus, pulling the entire saga together rather than just
No one
doing
wants
the
that
Alien movies.
though.
Yours is too
Well,
much
some
of an
people
action
do.
movie, Drew.
Well,
And
Paul,
also a bit like
Paul
Ross's-
does,
Ross's-
but
hang on.
Ross's-
actually,
Jim
yeah, fair
Cameron's,
enough.
Jim
Much
Cameron's
action.
Aliens, which is widely held up as as one of the two best movies in the franchise.
no
It's an
scares.
action movie. What are you talking about? I literally described the entire end portion of the movie where they are
Oh, so it
going
scares
through
at the
a
end.
derelict, horrible ship full of
Mine's
aliens,
got
and the
scares
characters we
the
like are
whole
all
way
being
through.
picked off.
Mine's got the atmosphere of the original. And
Oh,
that's
so
what
there's
we
no
want. We don't care
tension
about
in
fucking
yours.
guns
Yours is
or-
just scary from the get-go. There's no build-up.
Yes,
there's
of
no
course.
tension.
There's no tension
fucking
in the
stakes.
whole movie.
Andy's
Everyone's
is
at-
good.
everyone's
but
at 100
Andy's-
all the time.
Andy's is a reboot of the franchise.
Andy's is a reboot, not a sequel. Not to mention, Andy's is predicated on the idea that some of the aliens survived an explosion that destroyed South Africa. We
didn't see the bodies.
300...
Going by comic movies.
Yeah,
comic
you
movie
didn't see the
we
bodies
didn't see the
because
bodies.
they turned
Still
to
alive.
mist. They were literally mist.
Hey.
Nothing survived that.
Ellen Ripley survived. She was literally incinerated, and they managed to clone her.
Why are you defending Andy now?
Oh yeah, wait, shit.
I
no.
mean, with Ross's, they somehow get the sample from the hybrid that was just scattered during
in space. Yeah, oh,
Where-
trust me,
where
Andy.
did they
I
get
had a
those
problem
samples
with that
from?
too.
What?
Like
They
the
literally
bits
cloned
of-
her from a furnace.
Yeah, but where did they
Yeah,
get?
yeah, but on a planet that still exists, not
Yeah,
something
they can just
floating in the
scoop-
vast frozen waste of
Yeah, they
space that
just
would have
scoop
burned
up,
up on
the
re-entry
viscera
into
of-
our atmosphere.
They literally scoop up the
it
viscera.
up.
From
do, you know,
where?
do you know how big space is?
Yeah,
Like
look,
Andy
mate, it's
starts
Wayland
off with two
Yutani.
ships
If they want to
luckily
find,
running into each other at the beginning
Hey,
of the
it's
movie, and it's like,
Wayland
oh, can we have
Yutani.
some help? Oh, actually, you're the last people to get off Earth, the final
good,
survivors of a spacefaring race that have colonies all over the galaxy, and like this is the last ship of 8 people because everyone else on
There's your
Earth
tension,
died.
bitch.
Rather than everyone just being like, oh, let's just get in our spaceships and take off and nuke the site from
Mine's a
orbit.
classic.
That's a
scary
famous
movie. That's
line
what
from
with
the
lovable
series.
characters that we don't want to die. It moves the world on. I don't care about Ripley. She's dead. She died in the third one. The fourth one didn't really have Ripley. It's not her.
So you're.
That's not.
Oh man, people saying that I've included films no one cares about, and Andy's not including the thing that people do care about, and he's proud of that. Fuck you now.
Right. Oh, end this. End this.
This is
Put us out of our misery.
this is tough, right? Because all three genuinely have stuff that I like, right? I like the idea of seeing Sigourney Weaver lay a juicy smackdown on Michael Fassbender. I want to see her kick him in the face. And I like Prometheus, and I kind of like Covenant to a degree. The idea of like Benedict Cumberbatch snarling and like dribbling, I would watch that shit. Like that would be, and Karen Gillan going like, "Ah, no, he has lost his humanity," is great. A Quiet Place meets Logan with Sigourney Weaver is my shit. Right?
Yeah, that's All joking aside, that is a very good call for it, Ross.
It's tough because to a degree, I agree with Sigourney Weaver that no alien film should be set on Earth, but that is a really good idea of like a road trip. I like that idea. I like the character stuff. If I think about which one, if it was playing in a cinema tomorrow, would I be like, I'm going to see that film? It's probably going to be Ross's, even though all three have stuff I want to see. Because I do want to see Benedict Cumberbatch turn into like a weird alien monster. I do want to see Sigourney Weaver fight Michael Fassbender. I do want to see those things. But I like the kind of somber, Logan-esque, A Quiet Place take. So I'm gonna give it to Ross.
Yay! 2 week running.
Oh man, Ross is the first ever 2 weeks running host.
Thank you, Paul, for my wondrous victory. I want to hear your idea for this.
For mine, right? Mine may be controversial because it's not. It's technically a prequel to Resurrection,
Oh.
and mine kind of takes its cue from the Neil Blomkamp rejected was going to be great but didn't happen. But mine would be called just Xenomorph.
Nice.
Its
Very
tagline
good.
would be, in space, something can hear you scream. So we begin in a Wayland Yutani lab. They're experimenting with facehuggers. You see them, they're like two scientists are walking down a long corridor. There's big panes of glass, you look inside. Pregnant women have facehuggers on them. There's like conjoined twins, but only one of them has a facehugger. There's people with missing limbs, and they're like trying to see if the xenomorph comes out a conjoined twin or comes out with like a baby. There's like different animals that have been
Oh man.
experimented on. Yeah, it's quite an intense cold open.
Yeah.
They're walking down, there's like a dog, the dog's hacking up, suddenly a xenomorph dog hybrid comes up, they're like writing down notes. Anytime a xenomorph merges out of these people, a soldier immediately goes in and puts it down, they're like taking notes, and then the title comes up. And then Ripley wakes up from a nightmare, she's dreaming of falling into fire. We see her arm, there's puncture marks on it from experiments. What we find out is the events of Alien 3 were implanted memories to see if information could be taken from those under duress. So the opening credits of Alien 3 happened. The xenomorph attacked the thing, but everything else was like an implanted memory, so they could get information. So you find Hicks's face is all like melted. Newt is alive. Bishop's just like a torso, and we explain that Lance Henriksen's old because the skin on him is just old, so it's sagging, and that's why he looks like present day Lance Henriksen. They live on a small planet called HR-227, which has apparently no life on it. She lives with Hicks. They sleep in their pods in their sort of disguised spaceship, and it's a planet of perpetual daylight. There's no night on this planet, because none of them like the idea of being in the dark, because they come at night mostly. It's just this like kind of lush green. It's like almost like a paradise. It's really nice. You have some character beats, them chatting. Newt's an adult now. It's been like sort of 30 years. They're kind of this family. You've got like the mum figure, the dad figure, the weird uncle, the daughter. Whoever plays Newt's got like a cool haircut for some reason. And then one day they look out the window and they're like, oh, it's a shooting star. But it's not a shooting star. It's a spaceship. And the spaceship touches down, and out come all these like corporate people from Weyland-Yutani. And they've been going planet to planet, basically trying to like terraform and find information and stuff. And they're like, oh, we've run out of fuel, we're trapped here, we need your help, can you help us? And they apparently don't know who Ripley and Hicks and that lot are. And there's like maybe like 5 of them, and they have a robot with them, they have an android. And because the naming tradition is like Ash, Bishop, Cole, David, so this one would begin with an E, would be called Eva, and Newt immediately takes a liking to Eva, and there's like some sexual tension. And they're like, oh, your android Bishop is like really old, and he's like, fuck you. And Hicks is like constantly having panic attacks because he's like so traumatized, and Ripley's like, if you're from the company, you can fuck off, we're not going to help you get off this thing. And then they have like a meal, they're all chatting and stuff, and then the leader of these Weyland-Yutani types is like, he's like a cool guy, stands up and he's like, to our hosts, and then immediately tases Ripley, tases Hicks, tases Newt, and it turns out that they've been tracking them for years, and that they're bringing them back to Earth to basically extract memories and put them to sleep because they know too much stuff. So they're on the spaceship, and they're like, we're going to see what happens when you go through memories of people with trauma, and if that trauma can trigger something in a xenomorph, and if the xenomorph can have human memories and then think more, because we want smart aliens, because they'd be amazing weapons in warfare. So they're going to do that to Ripley. And there's a bit more of like a character moment between Eva and Newt, and they're like, oh, I like you, or I like you too, can a robot fall in love, shit like that. And then Bishop's like, I've hacked into the mainframe, or the door's open. Hicks is like terrified to use a gun because he's so traumatized, but he grabs like a pencil and like stabs loads of people to death because he's like nuts. And then just as they're about to put a face hugger on Ripley, Newt unleashes a xenomorph onto the ship. Xenomorph's like fucking people up, and then Ripley's going to have a fight with the xenomorph, like proper grapple it, as the ship's coming towards Earth, and she manages to like kill the alien. And then I haven't really got much of an ending. All I know is that towards the end, as the alien's dying, its tail goes straight through Ripley's torso and kills her. And then we'd end the film. She's having a Viking funeral. Hicks is like still a bit traumatized, but he's like, I want to stay with you guys. Eva and Newt are gonna like get together. Bishop's still just like, I really wish I had a body instead of just being like a head. And then it's like going, and then the credits roll, and then mid credits, after you have like, you know, the 20th Century Studios presents Xenomorph, you see the ship, and there's people on there, and they take out loads of vials of DNA they took from Ripley, and someone says, we can clone her. And then it ends.
Oh, wow. That's a good
nice.
pitch.
Right.
That's a shame you weren't pitching, my friend. No, yeah, it was good. Thank you for that. That was awesome. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you for letting me join your show.
We will love to have you back again very soon as well.
I would love to come back and hear some more pictures, hopefully about a good movie.
Yeah, definitely. So all that's left is to say goodbye. Oh, actually, first we should say, if you want to follow us on our social media, please do. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Paul, do you have any socials that you could verbatim say now? If I would never be able to say my own ones, but
my Twitter is at Paul Klein Yo. That's 2 O's. For reasons I don't know. And then I also have Letterboxd, where I don't really review stuff. I just make really pithy jokes. And that is Paul Klein Yo with 1 O, because consistency is not something I'm known for.
So yeah, go and follow Paul, please. And yeah, if you think you have a better idea for Alien Resurrection, then please let us know. If you have a better sequel, if you think Andy should have won, if you think Drew should have won, if you think Paul should have won, then please let us know. So yes, now all that's left to say is goodbye from Drew.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye from Andy.
Goodbye, everyone.
And it's goodbye from our special guest host, Paul Klein.
Goodbye, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night.
And it's goodbye from this week's winner, me. Oh yeah. Goodbye. Bye.
Nostromo
Bye.
signing off.